Okay, so we'll start with introducing yourself to the people, let them know a couple of what services you have to offer, what business you own, so forth.
Okay, I'm Ronald Kendrick. I'm CEO of RMK Services. We specialize in warehousing and transportation. Been in business right at I would say 11 years, and also CEO of RK Fitness, which we specialize in health and wellness.
Okay, RMK services. You said you've been in business for about 11 years now. Where did the spark come from for you to start this business? What gave you the thought to go down the path to even go down that road? What? How did you get into the transportation business?
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go a little farther back. I've been an entrepreneur, I would say, ever since I've been 15 years old. So I have always had a desire for business. I've always had a desire of creating something in my mind and seeing it, working on it until it come to life. So in regards to the transportation piece of it, I worked for Yamaha Motors for, I want to say, 6 years. And I always knew, even when starting there, that it was just a place I was just passing through. So at the fulfilled time, I knew it was time for me to transition. And I had a partner going into transportation, and I just took a leap of faith. And I started that business. I quit Yamaha.
So you just up one day and just decided, okay, Yamaha is not for me. I see my friends around me going into business for themselves, doing it. He was going into transportation also, and did he like say, hey man, this might be something you might want to look into, or had you already been looking at the transportation business, or like how did it go from Yamaha to let me do a transportation service?
Because I always knew when it came to trucking, trucking is a business that we would need transportation. We always need transportation. So that's a business that will always produce income. And I
Things
need,
always have to be moved. So that's like
right,
something that's not going
right,
anywhere.
right. Things always need to be transported. Particularly at that time, of course, the warehousing part wasn't even a part of it. But I seen a way out. And so I just took a leap of faith and I just went for it,
Okay.
not knowing anything about the business.
So you were learning as you go.
Yep, I learned as I went.
How was that? I mean, obviously it turned out fine because we're still here 11 years later and you're still
Right.
in business. But how was that journey learning as you go? Especially like you don't look too old. I might be wrong, but I mean, young black man
Yeah, I'm fairly, I'm pretty young.
don't know anything about that,
Right.
particular field. So how was that?
I mean, just to be honest, it was scary. I'll be remiss to sit here and if act if everything was easy. It was not an easy process because you had to think about it. At that particular time, I had recently just became married. I had children. I had just bought a house, and God was telling me it was time for me to move on. So it wasn't an easy process. It was definitely a leap of faith, and I had never drove a truck that size, let alone operate a trailer. And I was quitting my job where I had became so familiar with and so comfortable with for years. So I basically was uprooted.
All right. So you said you had never drove a truck that size. So that means you were actually hands on with the driving and everything. It wasn't you just started up a company and was like, somebody come drive this truck. You were
No.
actually hands on from the floor, from the ground up.
Yes, I was hands on. I learned everything from scratch. I remember when I first got the truck and trailer, I bought everything brand new. And I had to go to North Carolina to pick the trailer up because I got it built from scratch. So my cousin and I, we went to North Carolina, and so we drove the trailer back from North Carolina. So we need to find parking for the trailer. Oh my God. I tried to back that thing up. It literally scared me to death. And
Exactly.
I asked myself, I said, Lord, what have I got myself into? But it was one thing, one element that has always been in me, and that's the refusal to quit. I kept working with that thing. I kept working with that thing. I hired me someone to train me, and we trained every day to finally, I got it.
Okay, that's what's up. So, um, what? Okay, so how do you define success for your business? Like, what milestones have you achieved that you can say, yeah, I hit this milestone, and this was something that I can consider being successful for my business. Like, what is success to you?
The way I would define success, I would not define success as material things, but success is mindset. So in my journey of business, the things I have went through have changed my mindset. I have developed grit, the ability not to quit. So that's what success means to me.
Okay, so um, what what role, since you're in transportation, what role has technology play, or what role do you think technology plays in your business, your day to day, you know, workings of your business?
Technology plays a major role, because in the earlier years, we operated, on load boards and, things of that nature. And the cell phone was not that advanced. So, we had radios and things of that nature. But now we don't need a lot of those things. And one of the key things that I will speak on, now that I forgot to mention earlier, is that when it comes to me running my business and having people work for me, there is nothing that I have not experienced that I have not been able to pass on to them. So they call me with questions. I can answer any question they have for me because I have went through it. Most people try to start a business and they want to start from the top. They don't want to drive. They don't want to
Be
be
hands
hands
on.
on in their business.
Right.
They want to start a, but the what makes the best, I guess you would say, boss or teacher is the one who have experienced the very thing that he's teaching.
Because you know all the inner workings, the ins
Yes.
and outs. You know it from the top to the bottom. Like you said, you got in and went hands on from the beginning, so you know how everything should
Mm-hmm.
run. If there's a problem, if it makes sense or not. So with that, that leads into one of the other questions I have for you is like how to how do you handle like setbacks or failures, or have you had any, and if so, what have you learned from them?
Man, okay. Now you're starting to open a can of worms because I have had many setbacks. Okay, let me go into this quick story. Okay, I left Yamaha. I want to say February. No, I'm sorry, not February. March of 2015, and I started the business in January, got my LLC, got everything set up. My MC, which is your authority, it did not become active until May. And what that is, that's your own authority. So you basically can't operate that vehicle to all those T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. However, so I became active in May. So I started driving, start transporting vehicles. Remind you now, I left Yamaha. I took my 401k. I used that money to buy the truck, to start the business, to also have income to be able to operate because this is a new business. This is a new venture for me. My wife, she was working. The day I was supposed to leave my job, my wife lost her job. That was the first setback. And she called me. I encouraged her, but I got off the phone and said, God, I fell to my knees like, are you sure you want me to do this? But this was my act of faith. This was God teaching me. I didn't know at the time, but I know now. But I did it anyway. 6 months later, from me starting that business, that same truck, brand new truck that I purchased, brand new trailer that I purchased, I turned it. So basically, the business basically ended then. So I was basically out of operation for 6 months. Long story in short, I went and purchased a newer truck, another trailer in December. 3 months from there, they jacked the premium up on me and said we want 35,000 for the year, put me out of business. So I didn't get rid of my entity. I still had it, but I had to go back to work for a year. So when you talk about setbacks, what have I not been through when it comes to business? Or period.
So basically, the answer to that was you just fight through it and keep pushing.
That's all I know. That's all I have ever been. I have learned just with the errors and the pressures of life. The ones who succeed are the ones who refuse to give up. I seen a quote the other day and it said, "How can you be the man that refuses to quit?" And that thing hit close to home for me because in my life, in my journey of life, I refuse to quit. There's nothing that comes my way. I might be down for a moment, but I rise several times.
Okay, so um, I guess that kind of go with this next question also too a little bit. I guess so. How do you approach your decision making and your risk management in your business, your day to day business?
I approach it just one step at a time, one decision at a time. But I make sure before I make a major decision, I pray first because I'm a man of faith and I believe in that to allow God to lead your way. So that's the only answer I have for that question.
Okay, so throughout this interview discussion, you keep going back to your faith. Like I see, you got the quotes on the wall and framed up and stuff like that. So it sounds like your belief in God and faith is a big part of not just your business, but just your day to day walk. So, I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, how does that come into play with your business?
Um, I guess when it comes to God and when it comes to my faith, He's the only reason why I'm still here. Because when it comes to the background of Ronald Kendrick and who I used to be, God was my way out. Many things I did not understand, many things I have struggled with, and I realized through all those things, it led me to Him. And that is the only thing that keeps me grounded, is my faith in God. He's the reason for everything. He's the reason for Ronald Kendrick. He's the reason for my business. He's the reason for who I am as a person. If it weren't for him, I would have clumped out a long time ago. That's one of the reasons when I was telling you earlier, having the refusal to quit, because he refused to quit on me.
Okay. How do you? Okay, let's get off this right now. Let's talk about the fitness. You say you are also CEO of RK Fitness. Tell us a little bit more about that. How did you get into what exactly does RK Fitness offer to the public?
RK Fitness, I mean, I wouldn't be doing it any justice to say it was only focused on fitness. But RK Fitness is about transforming the total person, mind, body, and soul. That's what RK Fitness offers to the public.
Okay. What got you into this business? What took you down this path of the fitness and becoming a trainer?
Okay, I've been training or working out myself for 20 years, and I have been training people throughout the whole 20 years. And finally, I said to myself, I believe I can do this as a business. And I set out on that journey, and now here we are.
Okay, so with Arcade Fitness, what do you have in plan for the future with that? Are we you have any plans on merchandise? What's the merch you're gonna have available? Any kind
Okay.
of supplements you thought about going into the supplement field?
Yeah. As I said, man, we got big plans for RK Fitness. Eventually, at we shooting for the maybe fourth quarter of this year. We're going to have our own facility. That's the big plan. But in the meantime, we're dropping new merch: waist trainers, slimming gel, merchandise for the women, top and bottom. We're even working on our own shoe. We're going to also have supplements, and it won't be. It's going to be the real deal because my name is on it, meaning I stand behind it.
Okay, so you said you finna go into the shoe market.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what? Okay, once again, what made you go down this lane? How you get into that?
Because I have learned just through my experience in fitness that people put out shoes that are uncomfortable, but they're for fitness. So I'm going to develop my own shoe that caters to comfortability and not just look.
Okay, so it's functional and looks good.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's the you got a timeline on this when you trying to have this done, or is it still in the workings?
Yes, it's definitely still in the works, but we're shooting for third quarter of this year,
Okay.
2024.
So it's underway.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Any contact information you want to leave the people with? Where can they find you? How can they follow you? Sign up for some fitness classes. Oh, hold up! Before we do that, so you are a fitness trainer. You do one-on-one sessions, group sessions? How does that work?
Okay, yeah. I definitely do one-on-one sessions. I do group training. I also have a couple of boot camp classes held on Saturdays and Thursdays. And yes,
Okay, so how can the people reach you? What kind of
you
contact info you want to give out?
okay? You can reach me through my website at rkfitness.org, Instagram rkfitness231, Gmail rkfitnessllc at gmail.com.
All right, appreciate your time, sir. And that'll be it.
Mm. All right, amen. Praise God.